Hey, welcome back to the podcast. Gerald Rosengarten is here, and he is a Brooklyn-born serial entrepreneur, and his greatest skill is an extraordinary ability to perceive form and structure and opportunity from within disorder. And Gerald has lived many lives. He's been in real estate, invested in solar energy, and he is a serial entrepreneur, and he has a book called Jump on the Train, a dyslexic entrepreneur's 50-year ride from the leisure suit to the Bowery Hotel and a New York solar farm. So, Gerald, glad to be speaking with you.
My pleasure.
So we gave a little bit of an introduction about you, but in your own words, what's the elevator pitch? What are you passionate and focused about? What makes you unique?
Well, first of all, I'm passionate about the environment because I really think we're just wasting our time. That's one. What I've done over my life has been a lot of different things, all by basically perception. You see something and you go with it. And that's what I've done. And that's what I mean by jump on the train. I see something, I jump on the train, take it to the end. That's true in the textile business when I created the leisure suit, which changed men's fashion basically for 6 to 8 years, but even to this day. I saw lofts and started to build legal lofts before anybody else did. And that's kind of like changed the lower portion of Manhattan. And I did a lot of stuff. I built a medical building where I had doctors basically for 35 years, which is real estate. The Bowery Hotel became a famous hotel. I have partners there who are very good at what they do. The solar farm I actually built. I didn't invest in, although it was my money that built it. I built it. Before I did the solar farm, my wife had come home and she brought in a little yellow tag. And it said, "Don't let your children play on the ground. Don't let dogs play on the ground," like that. And that was all about the poisons that they put in the ground to keep the grass growing green. And that was the first time that I ever looked at the environment. And then I built 100% green, first 100% greenhouse in Southampton. And when I was in Italy, I saw my first solar farm. And the beauty of that solar farm was that they were growing vegetables under the solar farm. So basically, they weren't wasting the land at all. So I came back to do that. And I did it. It took me close to 6 years to do it. I had nothing but aggravation from the town, from the neighbors, from everybody. And the truth is they were going to take the land. And the only thing that stopped them was Governor Cuomo. He vetoed the law that was going to take the land. So, here, this is a new product of mine, which basically is a watch band for the iPhone, for the iWatch.
Okay.
And it's patented because I learned very early on in the textile industry that my product of the leisure suit got knocked off. And that's why it fell off the cliff. Because every time they knock off something, they lower its value. They make it cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. Same with most industries, actually. Even real estate. Except in Manhattan, they build bigger, bigger, and bigger. So that's kind of your competition. What else do I have for you? This is 50 years of doing this, maybe even more. And it's, oh yeah, dyslexia. I suffered with dyslexia for 50 years. I couldn't read.
And you didn't even know
And
it until recently, right?
well, I didn't know until recently that's correct. What happened, first of all, no one knew about dyslexia when I had dyslexia. They just thought I was a bad reader. I was at a party, and in the background, 60 Minutes was playing. I heard someone reading on 60 Minutes that sounded like I read, which was fumfering, stopping, missing words, all that type of stuff. And then this woman put an overlay on the page, and he started to read smoothly. I'm wondering what the hell this is. Now, the woman was a woman named Helen Erlin, and you should have your people take that name down.
Okay.
And she was coming to New York. I called her the next day. I broke through to 60 Minutes. 60 Minutes is very hard to get through. I got 60 Minutes to tell me who she was and where to contact her. I contacted her, and I was building the medical building at that time. So basically, I got her under pretense of renting her space in the medical building. But I said, if you come to look at the space, you have to test me. Of course, there's a test that goes on with this. It's a matter of color. Different people see pages different. I had no idea what I was seeing. I never looked at anybody else. As a matter of fact, for all those years, I kept it as hidden as I could. The fact that I couldn't read. And that was not difficult. That was difficult doing all the stuff that we're talking about. So I got it tested, and I saw a page for the first time in my 50s.
Cool.
Which was amazing.
Yeah.
The problem with dyslexia is first of all, this is 25% of those who are dyslexic can be helped by what I'm talking about. The other 75 will not get anything from it. It's called scotopic sensitivity syndrome. And what happens, you put an overlay on the play. For me, I can't answer about anybody else. You put an overlay on the page, and all of a sudden you see the letters. Up until then, now I know that the page itself were eating the letters. They were so bright that you couldn't see the letters. And that's what I was suffering from. And, and other people have different things that also are affected and are corrected with that. So that's been a goal of mine for a long time to get it out. I actually went into prisons and tested prisoners. And as far as that's concerned, 80% of the prisoners had the problem to a degree. The women prisoners, 90%. These are all statistics that are not scientific. It's just me in a prison testing that. I try to get this into the schools. I found it very difficult, just like the solar fall.
Well, just like everything, right? It's like you fought a battle every time you wanted to like stay ahead with the leisure suit issue with all the knockoffs and getting the medical building and the solar farm. Everything's a battle, but that's okay, right? That makes life exciting.
Well, it was exciting. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you one other one. My parents live in a community in Delray that currently has 7,000 families, right? Turned out to be a very big community. It's called Kings Point. When my mother and father went to buy there, it was the first piece of real estate they ever owned. We used to live in a 2-bedroom, 1-bath apartment in Flushing. So they come to me and say, should we buy this? I said, no, what are you talking about? This is ridiculous. We should buy. However, it had not been built. So they were like a pioneer in buying something that hadn't been built. Then she asked me, should we buy on the second floor or the first floor? And I said, the second floor. Little did I know when that property was fully developed, that there'd be a civil war between the people living on the top floor and the people living on the lower floor. It became so bad, people weren't even talking to one another at a certain point. But my mother comes and says she's having a problem with her knees. And she was well into her late 70s, early 80s. And I said, okay. I said to my brother, let's put in an elevator. My father said they would never let you put an elevator in here. I said, okay, let's put a lift. The elevator was a problem because of cost. So I said, we'll put in a lift. So my father said, no, they'll never let you do that. And that's also years. It took 2 years to do this thing. The end result of this was I was in a theater, which they have, 1,500 seat theater. Oh, no, 1,300 theater. I had to deal with an audience of 1,500. They were sitting in the side, in the aisles, and so forth. And this was because of this issue. And they said this, the only smart thing I said, and this was after, I had said the same thing over and over to these people. There's no way there's a vote now that's going to take place. I said, how could you not this is not a lift. How could you not give a spare tire to your neighbors? And it won. Now there are 700 lifts in the place.
Cool.
Yeah.
So
listen. Everything's an adventure. Not everything's about money. Although I know most people look at business as money. It's not always money. You do things, one, that they're right. They push the needle forward. You help humanity. You help your folks. You see, what happened with that elevator, that lift, is people don't build that type of facility anymore without lifts. And other lifts, the only ones I know about are 700 in Kings Point. But other lifts started coming together. Let me explain the purpose of a lift. When they're at that age, right, they either go into a nursing home or a senior citizen facility. And that's like the death knell. You give up all your power when you're there. So to keep them in their apartments, in their lifestyle, is a real amazing thing. My folks went on for another a little over 10 years in the place before they had to go into assisted living. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, and I like how what you said there, as far as there's kind of the criteria, right? Like if you take some kind of action, if you have some kind of money-making adventure that helps you and hurts others or doesn't help humanity, then we don't want that. We want to tick all the boxes. And I'm also getting from a lot of your qualities here, like we mentioned at the beginning, how you're all about perception, right? Like you notice what motivated the landlords there when you overheard the news reporter on 60 Minutes talking about dyslexia. There's all these little moments, right, in your storytelling where you had these ahas, and then that was the time that spurred you into action, right? The yellow notice that said don't play on the grass. So it seems like for you, there's the noticing something, and there's the jumping off point, and there's taking action before you have time to talk yourself out of it, or before there's time for other people to kind of steal your thunder before you get to it.
I would only say I'm my worst enemy. I talk myself out of everything, but then I do them. In other words, I look at all the negatives in those things that you just mentioned that I did. I'm a very conservative guy, even though I'm on that train. Okay? Um, it's really, for me, perception and design. If you're going to build in this world, right now I'm building the top of the penthouse of the Bowery Hotel. If you're going to build in this world, you have to understand that everyone has a taste. Yes, there are price points, but they still have a taste. And the taste is what will get them to buy yours as opposed to someone else's. Right? With the leisure suit, I kind of like, I've been in that field for a long time. I was in men's clothing in high school, in high school and my few years of college. And the rest, by the way, all this is in the book. I'm giving a short study of what's in the book. The book takes in all these things and spells them out exactly how they happen. And I name names, at least when they deserve to be named. And, you know, that's kind of like why I wrote the book. There's that question. Since I never planned to write a book. And since your whole concept is writing short books, right?
Right.
Write a big book quick. A dyslexic will find it harder to write a book, especially if he's by himself.
Oh yeah.
Now I had an assistant on the telephone or on internet or like this, which we go over things. But basically, it was the first time that I ever had the time to write a book. My wife came to me. She had written a short story, a memoir. I read it. It was great. And she says, "You should write one." I said, "No, I'm going to write a book." And, it blows my mind that it's even done.
Well, it's done because you're a problem solver. There's all these situations where even contacting the 60 Minutes lady, you thought, okay, well, what's my in, right? What's my foot in the door? What's my conversation starter? I'll talk to her under the guise of renting her the office in the building. So the details many times hold people back, it seems. And you said, there are obstacles and roadblocks, but the solution to that is to not do it alone, to get help and figure out a way to get it done.
I believe everyone in business is a problem solver. Okay. It's the inception of the business that makes you good to society and not. Okay. If the intent is only to build big and make more money, I don't think that's a plus. It's a plus to them, maybe a plus to the people who live there, but it's not a plus to society. I'm very much into the environment, and we are losing it. I don't know what else to say. I can't get into politics, so I'm not going to get into politics. But you have to understand that this earth is really changing very dramatically, very dramatically. And most people should know by where they live, because what last year was and the year before is not the same.
Right.
Right? What else do I have? Let me think if there's anything else. Apple. Apple has been my biggest savior, because I own the first Macintosh. And with dyslexia, it truly helped, because it was all point and like that. I've tried to make products for Apple. And if you want to talk about failure, that's where I failed. Okay? I made a keypad, the original iPhone, so that you can touch the keys on the flat screen. I don't know if you remember, everyone had Blackberries.
Right. With the
And
keyboards.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was, the product was right. It just didn't, the third generation of it really worked. But by then, everybody was using the flat screens and enjoying them. This product, the watch, we'll see what happens with it. But I am going to run. I'm getting back on the train.
I love it. And so it just seems like with all these adventures you've been on, there's the element of not giving up, of never stop, right? I mean, you can stop when you're dead. If your product with Apple doesn't work, you try another product, or you try something else. And I imagine there's a lot of like transferable skills, right? If you're in the like textile industry or in the solar farm industry, I'm sure you learn a lot about like people and project management and just all these other things. And so we definitely want, as you said, we want to tease people, right? We want to give them a taste and get them to then run over and check out the book, Jump on a Train.
Our
And
train.
so
Yeah.
jump on the train, my mistake.
Right.
And so it almost sounds like an insult if you say it the wrong way, right? Oh, go jump on a train. We don't want that. We want to jump on the train, your train. And so as we're directing people to that book and kind of getting them excited, is there like a number one lesson out of all the things that you've experienced, struggled with, learned? Is there like a secret to life and success?
Give me a second to think. That's
Okay,
hard.
no pressure.
I mean, there are a lot of things, but you said the thing. You got to go with your gut, no matter what the situation. I'm going to give you some other things, but not the main one is gut. The other thing is protect yourself, protect your family. So make something that's going to give you income, ongoing income, so you don't have to think about that. You don't have to fall back. You don't have to give up something else because of it. Okay? The medical building was mine. Okay? I was able to get 50 doctors in this building, and the income was a cash flow. So you have to do that. Then perceive what's around you. When I saw buildings going vacant, right, in Manhattan, and I think I had bought a house during the textile period and sold the house, and I had profit. That's what funded the buying of the buildings. And I remember saying, this is a house that I own. I'm the only one. It's one family. The buildings I bought could hold 12, 24 families. So if I buy it for this and I sell them each for this, that's a home run. And that's what happened with the loft buildings. Hotel is a whole different story. Hotel is I miss the meatpacking district. Are you familiar with the meatpacking district?
No.
Okay. It's on the west side of Manhattan.
Okay.
It was a very derelict area. And it started to get built up. But I didn't get involved. I didn't get involved because I didn't see any ability to get transportation there. Just impossible to get transportation. So I said, that's not going to work. And I passed it. I did a couple of buildings, condos, and stuff like that. And then I said to myself, I missed the meatpacking district because it continued to evolve into being a great section. In fact, it's one of the best hip sections in New York now, second to the Bowery. So I went and I saw a project on the Bowery. It was a gas station. We built a 17-story building on it. Initially, I wasn't planning to make it a hotel, but that's when I saw and felt about that this would be the anchor for the Bowery Hotel. And that's what happened.
And
So
yet
go
again,
with your
you
gut.
found a solution, right? You found the opportunity.
Everything is solutions. I mean, you can go into businesses that are other businesses and just copy them and keep going and do it better or not, but cheaper. And you'll make money. You'll have a life. That's not as much fun, actually. And I don't know that what I'm talking about. I mean, there's a lot of periods of time what just happened?
I don't know. There's fireworks. Something.
Something. What was I about to say? I said, I had a lot of problems doing all of these things. Again, that's in the book. You'll see the problem solving is only the beginning of an idea. And then to create it, there are a lot more problems.
And bigger as you go along, right?
Conceivably, not always.
Okay.
The small problems can catch you too. That's why I say it's like getting on a train for me. It was always a matter of getting to the end, delivering the product. And knock wood, I delivered every product. Not always to great profit, but I always finish what I started.
Well, very inspiring. And we need to check out this book, Jump on the Train. And as you said, it's full of all these amazing stories, because it's one thing to learn some lessons and learn some facts and figures, but it's a lot more exciting when it's wrapped around in a story that sucks you in and kind of just gives you this life advice that you need. And I love how you're all about having fun, right? Fun equals adventure, and that includes stress, and it includes struggle and uncertainty, but that's what life is all about. So we need to check out Jump on the Train by Gerald Rosengarten. And what are the next steps here? So there's the book, Jump on the Train, on Amazon. Are there any kind of next step as far as contact information or a website someone should go to after listening to our conversation?
Gerald Rosengarten on LinkedIn. There will be more. You're my second podcast in a couple of days. I was, I don't arrange these things because I don't know the business. But before I'm finished, I'll know the business.
Yes.
I also have 3 episodes written for, because the book reads, let me say this to you. I wrote the book for my grandkids and their children, because this is telling what Poppy did, right?
Sure.
So that's when I started writing the book. And that's over a year of COVID. And as I was writing it, it started to get exciting, because I saw for really the first time the breadth of these different things, which are not necessarily related other than through me. And it was exciting. So people who've read the book said it should be a series. So I wrote 3. I had someone write 3 episodes. We'll see.
Exciting times ahead.
Keep it going.
Yes.
Keep it going. We're in real rough times right now, and I'm concerned about the rough times. Again, I'm not going to get into politics. We got wars that are groundbreaking wars, and we have to handle them because they'll hurt us. That's my opinion. I don't know. Is that politics?
I don't know. It's okay if it is, though.
I mean, Israel is. It was amazing what happened there. Ukraine, for this guy Putin to decide one day he's going to take over Ukraine and then kill all those people. I mean, where are we living in? The Dark Ages? I really don't know. And we have to help and stop it, because if we don't stop it, you'll see.
Yes, and you can't ignore it. And we need to do our parts to save the planet and save the environment and all these things. And it's a shame that some of these issues like climate change, or that, human decency and death, why they have to be labeled as politics, and then we can't talk about it. Well, it would be great to talk about it in order to take some action and save the planet, convert more to solar. And so the first step in this is learning about it, right? And we can learn about it by getting onto the Jump on the Train book by Gerald Rosengarten. You can find him on LinkedIn, Gerald Rosengarten, and that way you can keep in touch and follow along and tell him what a great book it is, and also follow his progress in getting this TV show made and whatever the next adventure is, right? You go from the leisure suit and the Bowery Hotel and who knows what else. So Gerald Rosengarten on LinkedIn and Jump on the Train, and let's leave them wanting more and send them over to getting the book. And so, Gerald, glad to be speaking to you, but you have one final note. So what do you have?
Your viewers can do it. Your viewers can do it. It's not that hard. Get yourself your drizzler or the income producer, and then go out and do it. And you can do it, environmentally, you can do a lot of things.
So get your income, get your money solved, and then do whatever the next step is to give back and pursue that crazy, scary, massive project.
That's right.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Gerald, for stopping by.
My pleasure. Thank you very much, Robert. I think that you do good things.
And so do you.